What's going on, everyone? It's Kochyy here, and I just wanted to make a hopefully not too long of a video, just going over some new things that KLab have posted on the update for the Guild Quest function, which will be coming on the 20th of April. So they have posted this little chart here, basically outlining some categories that affected scoring in Guild Quests and how it is in the current iteration, and then how it will change post revamp. So I'm just going to go through them and I just give my thoughts on them. If you haven't seen my initial Guild Quest revamp video, I will link that in the description. But basically, my thoughts when I first heard the news, I was a bit my thoughts were a bit scattered. I just kind of hit the record button and got to speaking. And I don't know if I did the best job of expressing how I felt about it, but obviously it's been a couple days since then, so I've had a bit more time to kind of gather my thoughts and collect my, opinion on the whole revamp and everything. So hopefully I can express that a bit better today in this video. But anyway, we'll get into it. So the first category, damage dealt. So in the current iteration of Guild Quest, damage dealt is not a factor, and I do like that because it kind of puts people on a level playing field in a sense. And I can explain that in that, you know, obviously a lot of it is dependent on the rules and stuff, but a max transcended unit and a unit that isn't transcended, if we both get the same clear time, obviously the max transcendent unit is hitting harder, but because we got the same clear time, our scores will be the same in that sense, right? So that's what I meant. Like you're not required to have max transcended, any given character if you meet the rule sets, if the bonuses and the rules align up, right? Obviously that thing kind of went out of hand with how strong Lost Agent Soyphone became, and she was like kind of the get out of jail free card. There were a lot of rounds where the bonus units were horrible and the rules weren't that great either, so you just use soy phone. And if you didn't have upgraded special on your soy phone or max transcended her or whatever, obviously you couldn't use her in the same capacity and you would just suffer as a result score wise. So things like that kind of got out of hand. But when the situations were ideal, where you had a unit that you could use from the bonus list and the rules were right, it didn't matter if it was max transcended or not. As long as you got the same clear time as the person, as the other guy, you had the same score. And I like that about that. That's what I meant by a level playing field. Post revamp, as you can see here, damage dealt will be a factor. And this was one of my fears because now it's the reverse of what I said. If you have a max transcended unit, you're going to do more damage and you're going to score more than someone that has a weaker, or just not fully max transcended unit. And that opens the door for like whales and people that spend more money to pull more dupes of a character or something like that. And I don't think that's a good way to go for a mode that's supposed to be like this competitive mode. I don't know. I liked how the current version of Guild Quest, it wasn't really based on that. Like that wasn't really a factor. Obviously, there are other aspects that did contribute to whaling and things like that, or did benefit from whales and stuff like that. I'll get into that later, but it was mostly a skill-based thing. You had to clear the run as fast as possible, optimizing your strong attacks, your cooldowns, your character switches, all that stuff. It's all like the core PvE mechanics, condensed into this mode where you're trying to speed run. So I like that it was more skill based. Obviously, not everyone could get the same score. Whereas this mode, they've really cut down a lot on the core features of Guild Quest. They've taken it from 15 rooms to maybe what only appears to be like one room with 5 waves of enemies that spawn, and you just have to deal as much damage as you can. So I think they really simplified it and removed a lot of that skill that was required for the current mode, and opted for something where it's just kind of like a damage sponge. That isn't to say that it's all lost though. I'm trying to remain optimistic because the damage dealt, we don't know how much that scales with your score. So it could be possible that a max transcended unit, you would only get a couple hundred points more than say like a unit with like just level 10 SP or something. Maybe the difference in damage isn't, or the score difference isn't that much, right? Maybe it's only a couple hundred points. Then the worst case scenario is what I'm imagining is a couple thousand points of difference. If it's a couple thousand points, then the mode is completely like it's just written off. I think it's horrible then. But if it's just a couple hundred points, it still sucks. But it's not like the end of everything in that sense. For this mode, at least, you can still like manage and stay somewhat competitive. If it was just like the other option, then yeah, it's pretty bad. But anyway, the next category, clear time. So yeah, clear time, it's always been a factor. It's a speed run type of mode. I like that. I like the pressure and the, incentive to try to clear things as fast as possible. And you're trying to hit, a certain time, like on the timer. So you want to clear in that time. So you have that in your mind. You're thinking like, oh, it takes me, however many seconds to clear this room, etc., etc. So I do like that. I'm happy that that's staying. So the next category, enemies defeated. In the current mode, there are a fixed amount of enemies per quest. You need to kill all of them to get the max score for that category. If you don't kill the enemies, if you skip rooms, which is the only way you can't kill enemies, obviously you're going to get a lower score. Never skip rooms in guild quests. It doesn't really matter too much now because it's going away, but I saw some comments of people that literally did not know that. They would skip rooms and they would clear the quest in like 40 seconds or something, and they're like, how come I'm not getting the same score as the people uploading to YouTube? And that's why you're not killing all the enemies, you're skipping enemies and you're missing out on score. That made it even in that, regardless, as long as you cleared all the enemies, you made it to the end of the quest, you got that flat score bonus. Now it doesn't really matter. I'm not sure how much that'll affect it, in the sense that, if say you do so much damage that you don't even clear the same amount of enemies as the other person, but you get a higher score out of it because you did more damage. I don't know. I'm not really sure how that would work. The other thing about like the damage dealt, when they calculate it, will they calculate it based on how much health the mob has? Because if there's 5 waves, if it's fixed at 5 waves, there's a fixed amount of mobs. All of them have a fixed amount of health. So obviously, everyone would deal that amount of damage and health. That would be obviously calculated. That'd be, across the board for everyone. So I don't think that may be the case. I think, it'll calculate the true damage that your character would have dealt, regardless of what the mob's health is. So say if you're, you've seen like NAD characters hit for like 200k or plus or whatever, right? The mobs don't actually have 200k health. It's just showing you the number of, how hard you actually hit with that character. So I think that is what's going to be the scoring factor, which is a bit scary. Hopefully it's not too outrageous or, over the top. So next, damage taken. Damage taken, I think it's a really shitty metric. I thought it was just so weird that you can take 1 point of damage, from an enemy or a burn or whatever, and you lose 5k score. And I think because of this, it contributed a lot to resets and reset meta, because people would get hit, and obviously it's a lot of frustration involved, and you have to reset, and your whole run is ruined in that sense. I think if people could take like a damage and maybe they only lose like a second or two because they got staggered, they would be fine with that and they'd still clear the quest. And they'd rather go with that option than, having to reset the whole thing, or not resetting and losing 5k points. Like, no one wants to lose that much points, right? So I think damage taken is a really stupid like way to score, and I'm glad that's gone. I'm not really sad to see that go. So next, for combo, again, really another stupid category for scoring. Never really was happy or understood why that was like a factor for something that is like a speedrun type of mode. You need to have a dedicated unit on your team for building combo. And, the concept of pulling new characters and keeping them level 1 just to build combo is another really, really stupid idea. And it's just, I don't know. I think that never should have been a thing. So I'm out of all the things for this revamp, I'm happiest to see that combo is gone. And you can level up your combo characters, your vortex characters. You don't have to pull specifically for vortex units, which was a thing for some people that were competitive, myself included. But yeah, glad to see that go. And then lastly, the last category, bonus characters. So in the current iteration, obviously that contributes to score. After the change, that will no longer be a thing. So bonus characters, I feel that there were a lot of quests where there were characters that were perfect, that fit the rules, but they weren't bonus. And I remember a lot of people get frustrated, like especially like a new character would come out. Like I remember when Hakone came out, it took a long time till Hakone was bonus, and Hakone is already a strong unit for Guild Quest to begin with, so it was obviously unlikely that KLab will just make them bonus like that. But there are a lot of times where it's like mind attribute boosted, Soul Reaper killer, strong attack, blah blah blah, and it's like Hakone is perfect for this. Why isn't Hakone bonus? So things like that. I think KLab maybe just they're like, you know what, we give up, trying to match bonus rules and bonus characters. We're just gonna make the rules, and you fit the bonus. You have free reign on what characters to choose from and all that. And a bit of like mixed feelings on that, just because part of me did like the challenge with working around what we were given, but the other part of me is like, KLab doesn't know what they're doing either, and there was a lot of times where the bonus were complete trash, the rules were complete trash, and it was just Lost Age and Soy Phone run. So with this, it's not. Oh wait, I'll have to respond to that later. With this, it's not like you're limited, I guess, just by the rules or the bonus units. You're given free reign to pick whatever units within the rules. So I guess in that sense there are a lot more variety, and you just basically want to match up as many rules as you can and pick your best character for that rule. So for that round, I should say. For this quest, I don't know, it's still too early to really say what the meta will really be, but I think from what we're gathering so far, it seems to be pretty simple. I think basically you will want to just, as I said, pick characters that fulfill as many rules as possible, because those are your biggest multipliers in terms of damage, and then pick your strongest character for that rule set, and just pump out as much damage as you can with those characters. So I don't know if like the characters you bring in to assist you will kind of screw with your score, because say like your assist characters that you bring with you only do like 40k damage to the mobs, but you do like say 80k damage. Okay, I need to disable this notification feature. I don't like when it pops up like that. But say like you do 80k damage to the mobs, so you're doing double damage. You don't want them to hit the mobs in that 40k to get calculated. You want to do your full 80k, right? So I don't know how that will work. Maybe you just bring in some like 1-star units and just let them die, and then you clear the quest solo. Maybe that's better. I don't know. It still depends, how much score is a factor, how much time is a factor, but we'll have to see. I'm trying to remain optimistic, but I'm still a bit bummed to see the current iteration of Guild Quest go. A lot of that is what my channel is centered around, and I really enjoy that mode. There are a lot of aspects of it that I really disliked as well, but the core functions of it really, kept my interest and interested me in this game, with how competitive it could be, and the mechanics and everything of switching, flash stepping, managing cooldowns, all that stuff. I thought it was really interesting, really challenging. Nothing else in this game provides that. But anyway, that's pretty much it on my I guess discussion on this little topic, on this little update. Let me know what you guys think. What all these things could entail, if there's anything that I missed, and let me know in the comments. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and don't forget to join the Discord as usual. Link is in the description, and I will talk to you all later.